Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this week's webinar presented by International Security Training. We're going to be focusing on defending ourselves and our clients against audio surveillance. My name is Brian Allen, and I will be your instructor today. One of the things we're going to do today is we're going to review the tactic of audio surveillance. We're going to talk a little bit about who may be trying to use that against you or your client. After we do that, we're going to talk about two different ways we can defend ourselves against this. The first way is going to be with using insulation. It's one of the tactics we use, and another tactic we use is nullification. So we will be talking about both the basics of insulation and nullification. Now, obviously, this is a very quick overview of the basics. So what I'm hoping you will do is develop a sincere interest in the topic and then go and further your education. Use your vendors, use the salespeople who sell countermeasure equipment, and really get a good grasp on how to protect yourself and your clients from audio surveillance. All right, the tactic is it's an intelligent and excellent way for the bad guys to gain accurate information that can be used for a number of things. Obviously, we're always concerned about terrorist attacks, all right? People, groups, entities, extremists trying to do physical harm and then create fear and panic in society as a whole. Also, internal espionage, and what we're talking about here is employees, people within your close-knit circle who are trying to get information to gain some sort of advantage, whether it's positional, financial, and things of that nature. And then obviously there's external espionage. Who would I be talking about here? I guess on a basic level, competitors. Okay, if they can get a little bit of advance notice on your next move, on your strategies, on your synergistic relationships, that can do them a world of good and hurt your business. All right, and then there's often blackmail that comes up, and that's why we are sometimes hired by clients to prevent or hopefully reduce the magnitude of a blackmail situation. So think of these types of things when you're looking at your client and see if they have any of these risks. Whatever you do determine, okay, remember that the two basic foundational defense approaches are going to be insulation and nullification. They can be used to counter the tactic of audio surveillance. Now, for those of you who have already been through training and you're in the industry in a while, the names, depending on who you talk to, may be a little bit different. I'm saying insulation and nullification today, but after we go through this quick program or this quick webinar, you'll see what I'm getting at, and you can hopefully add to a little bit or just reinforce some of the knowledge that you already have. Let's look at insulation basics, all right? The goal here is preventing the installing and mounting of audio detection devices. And the first most important thing that we can do as security directors, as executive protection agents and bodyguards, is to have a good physical security system in place, and as part of that system, a good electronic intrusion detection system. Okay, that's going to be the most important thing that we have in place. Physical security, hopefully that's going to include both human and technology combined to elicit the desired response and level of security that you need and or that your client can afford. All right. Next, we're going to talk about acoustic barriers. Okay. The next two things we're going to talk about for when the bad guys can get past this. Okay. So an acoustic barrier on a very basic level, let's look at the wall construction of the facility that you are protecting. Okay. Wall construction should include layers of dissimilar materials with air between them. Air is a great insulator. Dissimilar materials make it harder for audio detection devices to work. When you combine the layers of dissimilar materials with the air between, you're going to have a lot more of an effective sound barrier than if you just use one very thick barrier. Don't forget your doors, ladies and gentlemen. Doors, obviously we want to have a solid core, heavy type of door, but don't forget the edges of the door. All right, that's where air escapes, that's where noise escapes, that's where things can be slipped in, detection devices and wires can be slipped in. So simply installing rubber gaskets can do your client a world of good as far as protecting them. So make sure you do that. And do not forget the duct work. Okay, protect your ducts. This is going to cost a little bit of money a lot of times when you start installing acoustic baffles. So have your security company come out and give you an estimate on that, and that should get you headed in the right direction as far as insulation. Now let's look at nullification basics. The goal here is to cover or mask confidential discussions from eavesdroppers or technological attacks should they have gotten past your physical security, should they have gotten past your insulation attempts. Now they actually have a piece of equipment in your area, in your zone, and they're trying to pick up noise. So how do we cover or mask that? First thing we do is we install audio masking systems, okay? They are commercially available. Some are pretty expensive, some are actually very affordable, okay? They can pump out a couple of different things. Some crank out music, some crank out white noise. So it just depends on what your situation is, what your environment is, and what your client desires, okay? How does it work? In the end, the system will be sending out, normally it's a digital system of some sort that sends out the music or the white noise in tiny speakers placed in ductwork and also in little speakers that face the exterior of the room, or they face the same gaps I was just talking about near your doors. Okay, so near doors, near vents, near the aiming towards the exterior of the room, you want to crank out some noise that is going to mess up, scramble, and filter any detection devices that have been placed in there. Don't forget about the wiring going into your room, okay? There should be no open-ended wires. Your gang boxes and panels should all be secured. When you're doing security checks, the person who opens them up and looks in there should have a basic amount of knowledge so they know what they are looking at and they know what's normal and they know what's abnormal, okay? Know what kind of wires. You're going to have your high voltage wire, your 110, your 220 wires here in the States. You're going to have low voltage wire for your intercom systems and parts of your security system. You're going to have fire wire for your fire suppression systems. You're going to have Cat5 cables or different types of cables for your local access networks and things of that nature. So know what kind of wiring you have going into your area and protect it. All right, the bad guys get a hold of some of that, they can really use it for their advantage. I guess in conclusion, I just really want to impress upon you the need for layered security. Okay, no electronic system is foolproof, no human security system is foolproof, but once you start layering them together, you're going to really improve your odds of keeping yourself and your clients safe. Now, always remember, determined attackers with financial resources and time are very difficult to fend off. So always be on your toes, be a little bit paranoid when it comes to the security and protection of your client, and always be learning. All right, balance overall physical security with the insulation and the nullification tactics that we talked about, and you will be well on your way to preventing audio surveillance of your client. So until next time, my name is Brian Allen. This has been International Security Training with another educational webinar. Take care, everybody.